Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. Uh, Nolan Thando, Nian Denny, thank you so much for being here first. And fancy, fancy. Do we need to talk about this? What is going on? You're usually first at least 5 times a week. Well, um, if only there was some way I could alert you so you can make sure you're first. But it's okay. So long as we're all here, that's all that matters. All right. Okay, let's just get on with it, shall we? Um okay, let's see here. Yeah. Do I have everything I need? I think so. All right. So Harry and Meghan, they're back, right? And oh, we got to do this first. I'm so sorry. Meta to pay billions in child endangerment settlement issues no apology. They issued no apology. As you know, this is a matter that is very close to the Sussex's heart. Um, as Harry and Meghan have been very active with the Parents Network and such. So um, it says here the historic trial against Meta over claims that that its products, that is, endangered children, has resulted in a settlement in which they'll pay up to $17.1 billion. The settlement requires Meta to pay financial penalties for violating federal child privacy and statements, that is, privacy and states, that is, customer protection laws. So, so there are federal child privacy and there's also state privacy laws. Okay, that looks kind of weird, but that's all right. By choosing to settle, the company paid to avoid yet another trial outcome that would force it into accountability because of the data extraction business model Meta has used on our children and all users for years. It has more than the means to pay this settlement. Reports estimate Meta will make the equivalent of 17 billion payout back in profit in the next 30 days. So paying this settlement for $17 billion, they're going to get that money back in the next 30 days and then some. If you guys are wondering, why is Facebook, Instagram, and even now WhatsApp, and I think what else is the other one? Um, I forgot the other platform. Snapchat. Do they own Snapchat too? Well, if you're wondering why are all of these things free of charge, is because you have a commodity that you are giving away to these companies, and that is the data. They are monetizing your habits on social media. And so Meta, which, you know, Facebook was the name of the company at first, but they chose the name Meta to, encompass all of the other platforms that they own. So as an adult, we can enter a contract and we can, pardon me, and we can elect to have our data um, used by whatever company, but a child cannot enter a contract. So that's why it's kind of like either stop taking the data from the children, which they use to monetize because they sell that data to other companies. And that way, companies that, let's say, if it's a toy manufacturer, if it's a if they make bicycles, if they make computer games, they know what's required by the consumer based on the information that we are giving them, right? But where people want to draw the line is they do not want children to have their information used by any of these companies. And therein lies the problem, is that they have been using that data without the parents' knowledge. So this is a win for all of humanity. Even TikTok. TikTok understands what your purchasing habits are, what your viewing habits are, your political leaning. And this information, by the way, is used to um, shape the message that politicians use to win your vote. And they could use this information to encourage you to go to the poll or to discourage you from voting. And when it comes to elections, it's not just who shows up at the poll, it's who stays home. So there's a lot that is going on here. And we are freely giving that information to these companies, but that is part of the agreement, is that if you want to use their product, then you have to be willing to share that information. I guess the easiest thing to say is Big Brother is watching. It's 1984. Okay. I hope that was helpful. That's the best way I know how to explain it. Anyway, I'm going to give you guys this link and you can check it out yourself. That, of course, is for Harry and Meghan's official website. And do read the entire thing so you can understand why this is so important. Okay. All right. Okay. You're the one thing I just can't get enough of. So I tell you, this can't be love because I had the time of my life. And I never felt this way before. And I swear that it's true. And I owe it up to you. Hey, baby. I love that song. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Okay. Nadine Burke, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed the musical interlude. Rohini, you must have been reading my mind. I was just thinking to myself, I really don't want to sing this song if there's not going to be someone to catch me. So, if there's any volunteers, if there's any volunteers, please let me know because I want to be held up like a bird. I want to be carried like uh, like I'm light as a feather. Ah, you are reading my mind. That is so funny. Um, I was literally going to say that. And then I said, no, I'm getting too weird in my old age. But I was definitely thinking it. I was going to say, who's going to catch me? uh, who's going to catch me? That is the question of the day. So, yes, that is, well, this is the abbreviated version. Meta settles a lawsuit alleging its products endanger children for up to 17.1 billion, agreeing to pay financial penalties and make product changes for teens. The settlement includes product changes like restricting platform use and banning features that negatively impact mental health. This settlement signals a shift towards safer online spaces for young people. Okay? So, but there's a longer thing. So, you have the link. Check it out so you can read more of the details, especially if you have young ones or if you have grandchildren or godchildren. This law affects everyone. Well, not law, but this change, this lawsuit settlement. You know what I'm wondering though? Is that money going to the consumers? You know what I mean? How much of that 17.1 billion does each individual household receive? Now, there's Sussex Force One. There it is, Sussex Force One. You know, I wasn't satisfied with the livery or the lack thereof. So I made some adjustments, if you know what I mean. I had to make some adjustments, throw in there a little Sussex Force One graphics, his and her Royal Highness, right? And of course, because they are a an American and British family, of course, we had to fly the flags of both nations. So I think that's very much improved, right? Right. I think the Sussexes need a private jet. I really do. And I am willing to chip in 20 bucks because I want those babies to be transported as safely as possible. So, or as safe as possible. Yeah, I think it's as safe as possible. So I am willing to throw $20 in there. Because I don't think I can buy enough jam to help out. So I'll put 20. If you guys want to throw yours in there, maybe we can set up a GoFundMe for for the Sussexes to get their own private jet. We only need to raise about how much of those things? About 40 million, $80 million. I think it's about $80 million. We only need to raise about $80 million. Let me see how many people are in here right now. Um, like 240. If we all chip in about, I don't know, what is that, 2 million each? Yeah, if we all put in about $2 million each, the Sussexes can, uh, I guess, put a plane on retainer, right? Or put a deposit on one, and then maybe about this time in, I don't know, 2085, maybe by 2085 they'll get their plane. Let's see, Harry would be 104 years old, right? No, I think he'd be 102 years old in 2085. Anyway, I mean for them to have that plane. So you guys get your checkbook out because that plane is too cute for them to not have it. You got my meaning? Okay. Um, and then of course the motorcade. Now, I if it wasn't for the fact that this has been a big subject, I would normally avoid discussing their security arrangements. But seeing that it has been made a global story, I am going to weigh in. Um, because those vehicles do not display the typical lights that you would see on the typical royal motorcade. The four Sussexes could easily fit into one of those Range Rovers. As far as I'm concerned, to me, those look like the royal, um, you know what I'm saying? That looks like the ones that the royal family use. And of course, the van, I mean, why would they have three vehicles? Well, let me put it to you like this. We're not sure what we're looking at, right? But this is the thing. I would feel very safe whether or not I had armed protection in those vehicles because I do believe that those are the armor plated SUVs. Okay. They look to me like the armor plated models. I really cannot be sure at this distance, but it looks like the Range Rover, they do sell an armor plated version. And some executives and such, they actually purchase those. And there's some VIPs that actually purchase the armor plated vehicles. So I won't go through the subtle details that says yes, it is or isn't, but I'm just saying it could be or it may not be. But I do know that they are available from Range Rover. So we don't know if arrangements have been made or not. As a matter of fact, we're going to get to a little soundbite later that talks about that. Um, but the thing is, for security to really be effective, we should not be having a discussion about it. And yes, I know I'm talking about it now, but that's because this is a big global story. Otherwise, I wouldn't dare talk about their, you know, operations and security. But leave it to the British tabloid media. Every detail of it is being picked apart by the press, which that really should never happen. And some of those security experts have been saying that even telling people how much the security costs, mentioning the price of security also puts the principals at risk. And I'm going to tell you why I feel triggered by this because when they come up with the operating costs for the royal family, right? Now, according to the palace, they spend about what is it? About £100 million a year to maintain the royal family. That is false. According to Republic, who had an outside auditor calculate this, it's more like a £500 million. Was that 500 million? Right? That gets us there. 500 million? That's a half a billion. Am I right about that? Oh, anyway, so it's a £500 million. It costs way more than what they will admit to. And when people discuss the price of the security, because see, a lot of the cost of the royal family is hidden away in the cost of their security. That 100 million or 150 million, whatever they say they cost every year, that does not include the security. That portfolio of properties that the royal family has, that portfolio of property has a security presence, an office on location. And let me tell you another thing. Um, that fossil of a queen consort, this one, she actually has a security office on her property, not inside of her house, not inside of any of the outbuildings, but they set up a security station right there at Ray Mill. Now, this is the fun part about that. This is why I'm telling you, I know it costs more than what they are saying because the Secret Service, the United States Secret Service, they have an office at Martha's Vineyard for the Obamas. They have a location in Chicago, either inside or outside of their home in Chicago. If you live in an apartment building, as Donald Trump does in New York, even though he never goes there anymore, they are leasing space at the Trump Tower. So the same way it works with the Secret Service in the US is the same way that it works with RAVAC. If they need to maintain a presence at your property, they pay you to lease that space. Camilla is being compensated for the use of whatever square footage, but they built something on her property. Now, it's not elaborate, but it's still there and it still costs taxpayers money. So, any of these former prime ministers, I'm not saying that they all have some kind of security location where they are, but there's always an armed officer outside of their door wherever they lay their heads down and go to sleep. So I don't know if they're doing, but if you were the serving prime minister, I'm reasonably certain that they would set up a location at your home, even if you're never there. So all of these royal properties have a security depot or of some sort. It is costing the British taxpayers a fortune for Will and Kate to have this newly created ring of security at Forest Lodge. The tabloids don't talk about it, but I'm telling you, it's expensive and we will never hear the price of it. And if we're not going to hear oh, let me get this thing off the screen. Good God, I forgot that was there. Ugh. If we are never going to discuss how much exactly it costs for security for Will and Kate, for Edward and Sophie, and even for the Duke of York, Andrew, then why are we talking about the price of the Sussex's security? Already they're being disrespected. It should not even be a conversation. It should just be. Now, to be fair, the Daily Mail said it could cost up to £5 million a year, but the damage has already been done because most people don't hear could. They're hearing, oh my God, it's going to cost more than £5 million a year. So, where that's concerned, it's working exactly how they wanted it to create outrage, anger, all of the things that they require to keep the engagement for their news product. But yeah, so it's very expensive maintaining the royals. And I'm afraid that most of that operating expense may actually go to security. Harry and Meghan private protection team spotted as they began new life in UK. Is it private though? Is it private? That's what I'm wondering. Is it private? Just because they say it is doesn't exactly mean that that's the case. But whatever it is, if it is private, then according to the British law, they cannot be armed, right? But is this one of those situations where they're just not going to discuss it, which is perfectly within their prerogative, their right to not discuss it? The Daily Mail and the Daily Mirror were the first to publish images of Harry and Meghan's private security convoy. And yet, people call them paranoid and delusional when they say they are unsafe and will be trailed by PAPs in the UK. Um, I'm not sure what to say about that. Working royals or non-working royals, um, we'll have to see about that. That's all I can say is that we'll have to see about that. Certainly, they are not and really should not ever trail the children. But as for the Sussexes, like if they go to lunch or if they go to dinner or if they go shopping, I really doubt that there'll be that many occasions where they're going to just pop in and out of places, especially during this initial stay. But we'll see because there's not well, there's kind of like an understanding in the Cotswolds amongst like the residents there. It is very Californian that people kind of leave you alone from what I hear. Is they're going to be in an area because, all of the Cotswolds is not created equal. I believe they say it's like what 600 square miles or something like that. And there's places to move about where that may not actually be a concern. But what I'm saying now is that we're not hearing anything, yay or nay, about any upgrade to their security. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not sure whether that is or is not royal protection. I don't know. And I don't think anybody knows. It's the assumption is that it's not. But until we hear from the Sussexes or until we get an official word from the government, I'm going to say put a question mark over that because it certainly looks official to me. Now, it wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibility that the Sussexes security have either leased or purchased or acquired those vehicles, however they have, and that is what they're using to move about. But even with that, you guys, I'm going to say that I believe that they will be quite safe in the very near future. But I'm still wondering what this is we're looking at because the easy thing to say is, "Oh no, they don't have it. They don't have it. They didn't get it." Well, yeah, I know they usually have the lights on the back and the sign saying to stay back or whatever on the back of the vehicle. But this is the only image we have, and we just don't know. So I'm going to say just wait and see. But least of all, do not panic. Do not panic because fear is not going to make anything better. So I'm just saying for your sake, for now, don't worry about it. It's not like they have no security. Even if it is private security, it's not like they do not have some level of protection. Now, armed security, yeah, that would be ideal. Whether or not they armed, I'm assuming that they're not because of the British law. But I just say wait and we'll see. Because we have not really gotten an official word. We have not heard from anyone to say absolutely they don't have royal protection. They said it would be up for review. We may or may not ever hear uh, anything about it. So there will be no official accounting of the absolute cost, in all likelihood, being the fact that it's the Sussexes. Yeah, they might be shady and say, well, this is what this costs or whatever. But let's just wait and see. Heather Stroud says decoys. And Kim Peaches says, how far are the Cotswolds from Birmingham? I don't know. I actually don't know. Um, I'm not that familiar with the geography. Let's see. Last night on the radio, they were reporting that the media is upset because they're so near yet so far, and that the media will soon turn on Charles and William if they don't give them security. It's crazy. Um, well, there are a lot of people that are like, you know, in the military, former military. I know at least one former royal protection person that are saying you need to do this. But it is bonkers. It should not even be up to debate. They should not even be debating this. That's what makes it so ridiculous. This is so embarrassing for the UK. Absolutely embarrassing. There's no way this should even be a thing. Harry and Meghan leave Birmingham Airport to begin their new life in Britain after flying in on private jet without taxpayer funded security. So Daily Mail says no taxpayer funded security. I still say put a question mark because I just don't I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the vehicles, right? Is it taxpayer funded? Is it not? Will they tell us or won't they? But anyway, I'm gonna keep this moving because I think so far the most important thing that we all can agree upon is that at least we know where the dogs and the chickens are. Forget about the family. At least we know where the dogs and the chickens are. That is so important with everything that's going on in this world, that the chickens are secure and that the dogs are with them is the most important information that we have learned in probably months and months. So at least we have that going for us. The chickens are safe. Now, I know this is triggering. Yes, that's exactly who you think it is. That horrible, dreadful person. But I don't know. Close your eyes or whatever, and we'll get through this. Okay, we shall get through this.
That we need to try and get some meat on the bones of, if you like, is where they're going to end up living. And you've done some terrific work here. I think it's a Charlotte Griffiths exclusive, editor at large on the Mail on Sunday. We can reveal here on Talk. Where are they going to end up living?
Well, we have to be so careful not to say exactly where they're living, but I suppose the exclusive is that, you know, this rumor that they may live on a small farmhouse on the Spencer estate, or they might be renting somewhere because they've got no money. It appears to be incorrect, because what I am told is that the property they've looked at, or the properties they've been looking at, are north of 10 million. The one that I think I've identified, I actually can't say, because they issued a really, really strong warning, which I must adhere to. Yeah. So we can't name the location. But
did you hear that? She said she suspects where they're staying, but they issued a really strong warning, so we just can't say. Now, if they have been instructed, obviously, by the palace, that you are not to say where the Sussexes are living, right? If they are following that embargo on their location, then if they actually have an enhanced security, chances are they're not supposed to talk about that either. Just like, and listen, you guys, I know I sound like I'm just using some wishful thinking, but listen to what I'm saying, and then you decide. We know that Andrew has not been stripped of his titles. If they wanted to strip him of his titles, he would either have to relinquish it himself, you know, or they would have to go through, and I'm not even sure he can do that, but for sure they would have to go through Parliament to do that. And the royals and most people in the government do not want a debate about royal titles. That was the only way to strip him of those titles. So, as far as I'm concerned, Prince Andrew has always been Prince Andrew, and he always will be Prince Andrew. And he is probably still the Duke of York. I don't think any of that has been taken away from him. But the palace has instructed the press that he is now the pervert formerly known as Prince Andrew. Do you get what I'm saying? So the palace is not beyond the ability to shut it down when it's to their advantage. And as you can hear from that horrible woman, they do follow instructions sometimes. So if their instructions are, you are not to mention where Harry and Meghan live, let's see how long that holds, okay? And if the instructions are not to say where they live, then there also may be further instructions not to mention a thing about their security. You see where I'm going with this? I'm just making conversation. So please do not throw expletives and drop the F bomb. I'm just making conversation.
Suffice to say, it is, as you'd expect, you know, it's incredibly luxurious. It's definitely got a kind of LA whiff to it. I have to be so careful not to identify it. But just, I found it very interesting that it's not some sort of dilapidated farmhouse, which at one point was the narrative, that they'd run out of money and they were coming back. It seems that is not the case. You know, the property is extremely expensive.
One of the big issues that we need to...
You hear that? It is very lavish, according to that liar on the screen. It is very lavish. what I'm trying to do is to ease some of your worries. And I'm saying just trust the process. Trust Harry and Meghan. Trust them to have a handle on this. Okay? That's all we can do right now is trust them to have this taken care of. And then let's just wait and see. Um, we may never hear anything about it. That's what I'm trying to prepare you for, is that they may have what they need and we may never hear anything about it. They may have some compromise of some sort and we may never hear anything about it. Now I got some ideas, but I'll keep those to myself. But just wait and see. Do not lose sleep. Now, £5 million Sussex security bill. It could be £3 million. Whatever the price is, let's remember that Harry offered to pay. But I will say this though. I believe that well, let me see. How do I want to I want to make sure I couch this properly. I believe that there is the possibility. No, I don't want to say that. Let me keep that to myself. Uh Leg says, why is GB News stalking two private two private individuals who have no impact on public policy, no impact on the what do you call it? The gross national product, the GDP. Yeah, they have no impact on any of those things. They are not military officers. They are just two citizens, mom and dad with two children who are philanthropists and humanitarians. And I don't see what the fuss is about. I really don't. I don't understand it. It'd be different if they were, I don't know, Edward and Sophie. It'd be different if they were Edward and Sophie, two of the most interesting people in the world. Uh, the people who set all kind of fashion trends. Um, yeah, it'd be different if it was them. But this is just, Harry and Meghan. Why is anybody even tripping? But thank you so much for the super chat. Let's see. Was it? I was in Tesco doing shopping, and an old lady waiting in line were talking about how they need to pray for Princess Di son and grandchildren, and they all had magazines in their hands. Oh, well, that was kind of nice, right? I'm glad to hear that. They could have left the catering trucks. Yeah, it is something so undignified that the leader of the free world was hidden behind quiche Lorraine, chicken pot pies, and eggs Benedict. I mean, I'm so embarrassed for him. You are the leader of the free world, and there you are, hidden amongst a vat of pumpkin bisque soup. That is so undignified. I don't think I could ever hold my head up high in mixed company again, knowing that the leader of the free world was hidden behind tuna fish sandwiches. Oh, you guys, please do offer your prayers. I know he's rich and privileged, but offer your prayers for Norway's King Harold and their family. He's in very serious health condition. Royal family cancels all planned events. He's a father to his nation, and I really like the way that they were so nice to embrace that flim flammer son-in-law of theirs. Um, you know, not everyone could be as graceful as the king and queen of Norway welcoming a shaman into the family. I mean, I've been through a lot in my life, but I've never had to welcome a shaman into our family. So I think they showed a great deal of courage. So, oh, you know what I'm saying? They showed a great deal of courage. Yeah, the king of Norway, the public love him. Yes, I mean, I've only heard nice things about him and the queen. So he seems like a pretty nice guy. Is the king linked to the witch doctor's son-in-law? Hold on. Let's see. I got to put some lip balm on because you're going to make me split my lip. Where is that stuff at? Hmm. Yes, if you mean Durrick, that is the son-in-law. That is the son-in-law. I'm sorry, I don't understand that. Uh, oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure on. Let me see. Prevention has grown. Will keep. Okay. Well, I think I get that, but thank you for your comment. Uh, okay, let's move on. So, I'm going to get back to the Harry and Meghan stuff, but I just wanted to cover this for now. Stella Pardon. If you guys remember, I was actually noticing that on think was it the 23rd? I think it was the 23rd that Stella had posted um, Tuesday morning. It was she had posted her usual flowers on Tuesday morning, and then after that, there was no word from Stella. Now I do follow her on social media, and because she is, you know, always there for the Sussexes. So you see here, happy Tuesday, and this was 7:30 a.m. Well, when she posted that, I'm pretty sure that her sister was still alive, and she only just posted again after 4 p.m. on the 26th. So that was the 25th, and after 4 p.m. on the 26th, she posted again, which I'm glad to see that, and I hope she and her family that they're doing well. But yeah, so that is Dolly Parton's sister, and she's the one who always tells people without any hesitation that she is Team Sussex. You see, the reason why is because number one, she's just like that, right? She is very, shall we say, um, she's a badass. Okay. Also, it's because she's had her run ins with the tabloid media. So she knows exactly how the tabloids operate. And she is quite fearless when it comes to speaking out against the tabloid media, which, of course, I like that. I like that. So that is why I am so glad that she posted something because I just really want to know that she's okay. Now, she had this to say about her sister. She said, "My big sister, Dolly, got her wings this past Tuesday. If anyone gets to heaven, I'm sure she made it right on time. I know she's showing out big time in all of her sparkle and shine. That was my sister's way. Every Tuesday, about this time, before the sun came up and the world was still asleep, she and I, for many years, had our coffee together over the phone. Being little farm girls, we've continued to be early risers, as she likes to say, shoot Tata, whatever that means. Oh, I guess that was her nickname. I guess she calls Stella Teta. She says, "Shoot, Teta, we get more work done before the sun comes up than most folks do all day long. We should catch up on gossip as sisters do and drink coffee and make plans. And it has always been our way. My sister was one of the most generous, thoughtful, and kind people I've ever known. What the world saw is exactly who she was. So much so, she told me recently that if there was no hope for her, she would still allow her medical team to try experimental drugs in the hopes of helping others in the future." Wow. My sister was always thinking of others, and if you want to honor her legacy, show more kindness, lift others up, and give more of your time and resources as she continued to do to the very end. I want to personally thank all of you for the outpouring of love and respect you are showing my sister. Your love and respect for her is deeply felt by all of us who loved her first, and it helps as we grieve her passing through our lives. My Tuesday morning coffee time will never be the same, but her love, respect, and goodness will remain. Dolly loved the world and everyone in it. I would criticize and complain about it, and she would laugh and say, "Shoot, Tetta, they've got more important things to do than to worry about their silly asses." She was right. She proved it every day. She left the world a better place by being in it. So let's follow her example. Love and respect to all of you, Stella Parton. Well, that was sweet. I like that. That was very nice. And check it out. Check it out. These are some of the places in the world where they lit up the skyline with pink for Dolly Parton. You can see the Empire State Building, Niagara Falls, the Wheel in Orlando, Florida, the Space Needle, Los Angeles City Hall, the White House. I'm shocked. Sydney Opera House, the Eiffel Tower, the London Eye, the Burj Khalifa, Dallas, Texas, the CN Tower in Toronto, Canada, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that makes sense, Brandenburg Gate, the Tokyo Tower, and the London Bridge, Arizona. Remember when they moved the London Bridge to Arizona? What a way to celebrate someone's life. That is incredible. That is incredible. Um, yeah, I'm loving it. I am loving it. I'm not loving the fact that they left Chicago out of it. You know how I am with my civic pride, but I am going to give them a pass this time. But I did have that the other day, didn't I? Let's see. Where is Chicago? So she called her sister Tetta. Aha, there it is. There it is. There's Chicago. Okay. Um, let's see here. Don't forget about the lunar eclipse tonight. There's a lunar eclipse? I didn't know that. By the way, thank you so much for the super chat. I had no idea. Do you know what time it is? Can I see the lunar eclipse in Chicago? Okay. Partial eclipse, 93 to 96% of the moon's surface, casting a coppery red tone, also known as a blood moon. Okay. Oh, so that's 9:33 p.m. The maximum peak is 11:12 p.m. and partial eclipse ends at 12:51. And that's all central time, by the way. So, okay. Well, I guess I'm missing it, huh? Oh well. Thank you, Lex. I had no idea. So again, there is Sussex Force One. I think that is an appropriate livery for the Sussex's private jet. Now they don't have one as far as I know, but remember, I'm taking up a collection, and if we all contribute, um, I don't know, just a couple $1,000,000 each. Let me see how many people are in here. 488 people. So it's about an $80 million jet, right? I think they're 80 million. I think we could all just do like what, maybe 1.8 million each, something like that. And yeah, so I'm going to write a check. I don't usually keep that kind of cash sitting around, but I will write a check. I'll find my checkbook. uh okay, so this one is kind of long. I don't know if I want to play the whole thing, but as you can see, there's even parts to it. So let's check it out for now. And that is the arm of my microphone that's making that noise. I know it sounds obscene. God, that's awful. Okay, that's better. Do I put oil on it? No, I don't think you can put oil on that. Oh, you know what? I forgot to save it. Oh, Lord. I forgot to save it. All right, now that's going to be a problem. Well, let me see. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, well, I screwed that up, didn't I? Let me see. Oh boy. Yes, I did not save it. Let me try again. Oh, yes, I have it.
That has told me what Meghan and Harry have actually done wrong. So I'm a little bit too close to suggesting that Meghan and Harry are the human embodiment of ULEZ. They are something about which a certain type of person was very, very successfully persuaded by a certain type of pundit to be furious. The kind of...
Oh. Oh, sorry. Hold on.
With them, and the target comes under sustained and brutal attack. Knit Sandwich simply said, "Good morning, James. I haven't come across anyone that has told me what Meghan and Harry have actually done wrong." So I'm a little bit too close to suggesting that Meghan and Harry are the human embodiment of ULEZ. They are something about which a certain type of person was very, very successfully persuaded by a certain type of pundit to be furious. The kind of media that is best described as weapons permanently in search of a target. And of course, when those weapons find a target, they bring audience with them. They bring people with them, and the target comes under sustained and brutal attack, despite the fact that none of the people undertaking the attack can tell you what it is that the target has done to deserve the attack. Look, it sounds like a bit of a stretch, doesn't it? The comparison of Harry and Meghan and ULEZ programs. But you take my point. No one yesterday came close to explaining how people managed to go so mad about an anti-pollution measure. Literally nobody. I mean, we could perhaps explain why you went so mad about an anti-pollution measure introduced by, or not even introduced, extended by a brown-skinned Muslim thrice-elected mayor. Then you get slightly different answers to the question. But why did you go mad about an anti-pollution measure that we now know has had an incredibly positive impact upon the lungs of our actual children? What the hell are you going to say in answer to that? And I think Nitson has a point. I don't think I've ever, and how many phone-ins have we done on this? I don't think we've ever really heard a powerful explanation of what it is that she is supposed to have done wrong. People use words like uppity, don't they, to describe Meghan Markle. I can't remember who that actually was, but someone with a public profile called her uppity. Not a word that I ever hear applied to men, and not a word I don't think I've ever heard applied to a white woman either. And people insist that they know more about her than I do, for example, which is technically impossible, given that we all rely upon the media for our so-called insights or knowledge of these people. And I probably spend more time immersed in the media than the average bear. What have they actually done wrong? If you are, I mean, either paying attention to the plight of this couple, or you are familiar with the things I routinely point out on the frankly quite rare occasions that we turn our attention to them, you'll know that a little later in this program, I'll share with you a direct comparison between two members of the royal family, Meghan and Kate, two sisters-in-law, behaving in almost identical conduct. I mean, I still, when I look at it, I dig it out, don't I, every couple of years. And every time I look at it, I think that can't be right. That can't be right. They're two individuals, two members of the same, two people who have married, two women who have married into the same family, engaging in identical or similar behavior and prompting responses that are absolutely polar opposite. I'll just give you one example in case you're not quite sure what I'm talking about. Here is a story from the Daily Mail about Kate, about the now Princess of Wales. Knit Sandwich simply said, "Good morning, James. I haven't..."
Okay. So we all know where that leads to, and that's about the avocado and cradling the baby. I'm going to see if I can skip ahead there.
That can't be right. They're two... Okay. Fast forward less than a year to the pregnancy of her sister-in-law, age bonding technique. And that is just one example. So you would, as a friend, say, "Are you sure about this? I mean, it's going to be awful." And then you would, of course, reflect upon the fact they know a lot more about how awful it's going to be than you do. They will be even more familiar with the febrile
atmosphere into which they will be inserting themselves and their children on their return to this country. And that's why I mean, I suspect that we'll never know the full story. We might do. But the theory, if you wanted one from me, would simply be that while he was here in July, while they were all here in July, and when the king saw his grandchildren for the first time in 4 years, something shifted inside them. Because do you know what? Like you and like me, they are humans who are members of a family. It's mad, that, isn't it? It's sort of a little clip of Harry. It's a day for playing clips of Harry, apparently. So I've got a lovely little clip of Harry for you, in which his basic normality is on full display. But of course, he is simultaneously among the least normal people in the world. His life, his background, the context in which he was brought up is utterly, utterly abnormal. And lots of contexts are. It's just that most of them aren't on full display. You know, most of them are not in glorious Technicolor every time they stick their head out of a window. But that is something they know more about than we do. So I presume that the shifting of the sands is down to some sort of desire to be closer to home, to have the grandchildren growing up a little bit closer to the grandparent. I don't know. I'll never know. And that's not the phone-in. That's not the phone-in.
You know, there's something to be said about that. It's the same as I was saying about the security. I know what the Daily Mail and the others are saying, but I have a feeling that there's going to be a few things that we will not have a complete answer, and just be prepared. Security may be one of them. We will probably have to assume that they don't have what they ask for, right? And we just may never know. Maybe there's a compromise of some sort that makes it appear one way when it's actually another way, but not completely what they wanted in its entirety. So I guess we have to be prepared for that, because as James O'Brien just said, we may never know. And that's what I was trying to say earlier, is that I guess we have to be prepared for the great unknown. It may not be a matter of public record for now anyway.
The phone-in is, what should they do? Is it even possible that they could return to the days when they were more popular than William and Kate? They were just more natural. They were just more, before the guns of the British media parked upon their lawn, they were pretty much the dream ticket. You had a bona fide war hero and a beautiful actress. It was kind of Prince Rainier and Princess Grace territory. Of course, that was never going to overcome some of the racist objections to Meghan Markle. I still wonder which member of the royal family it was that wondered aloud how dark the baby's skin would be, but I suspect it's possibly one who isn't a member of the royal family anymore. But that extraordinary period in which they were taken to the hearts of a nation, because we're mugs, aren't we? Often, you and I. You can take someone to your heart, and then when the media starts its campaign and the media starts turning its guns on somebody, you can change your view. You can move without knowing why, from liking someone to not liking someone, in exactly the same way that you can be persuaded Les was the end of civilization as we know it, despite the fact that all the people who understood it knew that it was going to have an entirely beneficial effect on, and I'll say it again, literally, our children's lungs. We can be persuaded to believe anything. Don't ask me, ask Joseph Goebbels. It's just true. I don't know what they could do. He is on spectacular form when you see him in the environs of the Invictus Games, or when you see him talking particularly about injured or distressed ex-service personnel. He's got this weird, and I say weird simply because it is out of the ordinary. They grow up, right, with this sense of duty, which you have to have. Some of them don't really have it. one thinks of Andrew. They don't really have a sense of having to give something back. And some of them, I think, don't really get it. They sort of see it almost as the dues that you pay in return for the privilege that you enjoy. And I think people who might ordinarily find my politics quite attractive are not necessarily going to chime with the next thing I'm about to say. I think that the late Queen, and possibly even more so King Charles, definitely even more so King Charles, actually have a very deep-rooted sense of duty. Do not laugh, all right? King Charles clearly ties himself in knots about things over which he feels he might possibly have some control. So he has spent his entire life trying to change things for the better, whether it is the environment, where he was an incredibly early adopter and has been proven right about many, many things, whether it's architecture, which was a little bit more controversial, whether it's the welfare of what we have to still incredibly and hilariously call his country. It's there. Listen, it might be accompanied by the fact that he's got someone who puts the toothpaste on his toothbrush every morning, and it might be accompanied by the fact that he bowls around London in a golden carriage with a whopping great crown on his head. It might be accompanied by all sorts of things that are ridiculous and yet at the same time, for many people, strangely moving. But he has a sense of proper duty. I think you can split the royals into the ones that resent it and the ones that respect it. I think both positions are equally comprehensible. Imagine being born into that world.
Well, we know who resents it, and we know who has no respect for it, and it's those two right there. Those two that refuse to work. Why is 77-year-old Charles, stricken with cancer, heading to the Caribbean? And a better question is, how come the tabloid media, which is the British media, it's one and the same, how come they're not making a big stink about it? How come they're not saying, why are you going to the Caribbean? Shouldn't the Prince of Wales go? Look at how many times Charles represented his mother. And yet, William virtually refuses to do anything on behalf of his father. I think he went to a funeral once, right? Was it the Pope's funeral? I think he went to a funeral. That's about the only thing I could think of. And I also, when they had the dedication to the Notre Dame, I'm going to say that is one that he did not fight over, because he wanted to be the global, what is it? The global something, global engineer. What is it? Global statesman. That's it. Global statesman. So yeah, he ran over there as fast as he could. But the D-Day, he didn't want to do that one. He didn't even want to do the D-Day event, of all things. When they were in the north of France, he didn't want to go to that one. And yet, the Sussexes are the ones that are punished by the press when you have Will and Kate who just simply refuse to work. They just don't want to do it. They got a built-in excuse. They're raising the future king. And then when that didn't seem like it was going well, then it was the cancer. Okay. Then how do you explain the 77-year-old ailing monarch who has not been dubbed cancer-free, taking these long trips and doing far more work than these two, cancer or no cancer? Now, Kate is supposed to be healed, and yet she still doesn't work. You couldn't coax her out of the house with a pork chop smothered in gravy.
It's so easy to resent it. Why can't I go down the pub with my mates more easily? Why can't I get off with a girl when I'm 16 without it ending up on the front page of the Sun? Why can't I do these things? And, of course, most of them will have both of these things fighting for prominence inside them. And I would have thought, historically, that the more baubles at the end of it, the easier it is to deal with the negatives. You're going to actually be king one day. But I don't even think that's fair. I think possibly that might add to the resentment. I don't really want to be king one day, but I am on rails. I can't possibly step out of this. But Harry, the reason why he has done so many of the things that he's done is because he feels that his status brings with it responsibilities. He's got to look after himself as well. He's got to look after his wife. He's got to look after his children. But he can never not be Prince Harry, even if we started calling him something else, unless his title was removed as a consequence of disgrace or as a consequence of a kind of low-level abdication. He can never not be Prince Harry. He can never not be the king's son. And I think he feels, I'm fairly certain that he feels, that involves a quid pro quo. The quid is the title, the life, the prominence, the status. Not so much the bells and whistles and the baubles, but the status. Somebody who has done nothing to achieve their fame. It's almost unique to the royals, that. You could probably say it about the children of celebrities, but they have a lot more choice. There'll be some celebrities whose children's names you don't even know. And there'll be some celebrities whose children's names you will never be able to forget in a month of Sundays. There's an element of choice in nepotism, in wanting to use your name to advance your own career. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. We'd all do it given the opportunity. But royals almost uniquely achieve status at birth. They achieve status and prominence and therefore influence at birth. Imagine being born influential. And listen, if you think I'm exaggerating, what would happen if it somehow became known what brand of baby wear the mother of a newly born prince was favouring? That brand of baby wear would sell out in moments. That's just low-level commercial interest, commercial influence. That is a baby that is barely born, that already has influence, that already has clout, that already has sway. And I've watched Harry quite closely over the years, partly because he's such an exemplar of how evil our right-wing media is, and partly because I'm British and I find the royal family fascinating. And I think the key to understanding him is understanding what he sees as the inviolable relationship between the gifts of influence and what you do with them. I really do. I mean, I might sound a little bit, I don't know, naive. Might sound as if I'm angling for a gong in the event of him ever ending up on the throne, which, let's face it, is impossible. But I'm not. I'm just trying to work out what I see in front of me. And I see a man born with influence who feels a deep sense of responsibility to using that influence for good. Did anyone else just think of Star Wars? It's like the Force. The Force is strong within him and he wants to use it for good. And he doesn't get everything right and he doesn't always do himself any favours. But I don't know. I think somewhere behind the decision to come back to Britain will be the belief that he can do more good here than he can where he currently is in California. Shall we have a phone in, or would you like me to carry on until 11 o'clock? Because as you've probably gathered, I am perfectly capable of doing so. I would rather have a phone in this morning, but I'm going to leave that decision up to you, because if you want to have a phone in, you have to ring me. If you don't want to have a phone in.
Okay. So there you go. Yeah. So as you know, that was James O'Brien. And that was, I guess, what he had to say about the Sussex's return. So, I guess just like everyone else, he's not sure why they're here, but he's glad that they're there, you know. But nobody knows for certain, and maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. We may never get a statement from the Sussexes any further than the kids are going to school, which I believe is the possible best answer. The only answer is that the kids are going to school. There are people all over the world that send their kids to Britain for an education. I don't know what's available there that isn't available other places, but um, I do know that there are all kinds of, you know, um, politicians, um, royals, gangsters, dictators. It's an equal opportunity situation if you got the money. So James O'Brien says that Britons were told to hate Meghan. As Harry and Meghan prepare to return to the UK later this month, what would they need to do to make a life in Britain possible again? James explores the racism and misogyny surrounding Meghan's treatment and the media machine that helped turn affection into fury. Also, boys are catching up with girls at the GCSE, whatever that is. Okay, so that's some other topic or subject. Okay, so there you go. Let's see. I have number 15 out of 18 chemo treatments this Sunday. I only took off work one day yesterday since I had a body fever and I am a single mom. It infuriates me that such a privileged princess uses the big C. Madison, thank you for sharing that with us. That is something that we've heard over and over again, especially that time when Kate went to the Trooping the Colors for the first time since the announcement of her illness. And one of the tabloid reporters, she said, well, Kate has come back, and this is something that most mere mortals couldn't do. And that really set off a firestorm. And it turned what was supposed to be this sympathetic softball to, um, I guess, big up Kate's situation and to win sympathy. Well, that turned into people not actually angry with Kate Middleton, but with the person who wrote this ridiculous article claiming that Kate was some kind of superhuman for showing up to Trooping the Colors, where she's not expected to really work more than just, riding in the carriage and being out that day, compared to someone who actually has to be productive. And at any given time, Kate could just call off anything and it's okay. But it's also very extraordinary because we know that the Queen and Philip, if they were able to, especially when something has been scheduled, you don't just pull out of it in the last minute like Kate did with the Royal Ascot. And of course, King Charles was absolutely furious. We saw that from that very awkward carriage ride because it was supposed to be Charles and Camilla, Will and Kate, and they had to bring someone else in Kate's place. And you can see the open hostility between father and son. So, and of course, they sent Rebecca English to smooth everything out. She actually had to go on camera and um, I'm not even sure what she said. And the thing is, I don't think she even know what she said, but it was something to give cover to Kate. So anyway, I wish you very well and speedy recovery and yeah, um, think about us or tune in if we can help you pass the time. I hope we are able to help you pass the time when you're going through your treatments. And least of all, if you need to sleep, if you listen to me while you're going through your treatments, oh, I'll put you to sleep. I can help you catch up on your sleep. Let's see. Heather Stroud says, "I think the Sussexes being in England could be safer right now. The world is in turmoil and is getting worse." Heather Stroud, you make a great point there, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the midterm elections are coming up, right? And the people are not sure exactly what's going to happen. So I'm not going to just suggest what people have been saying, but it it won't be pretty if the Republicans lose either or both houses of Congress. And yeah, there's a lot of people nervous about that. So I don't know what's going to happen, but there are record numbers of people that are leaving the United States, and that is the truth. There are record numbers of people that are moving to South America, Central America. There's a large community of Americans that are in Eastern Europe. I saw this woman who's an artist. Well, she's an interior decorator, but I'm going to say she's an artist. Um, she was supposed to move to Paris, right? And she found out that she was too old, I think it was, for a student visa. And so they refused her visa at the last moment. And she went someplace in Eastern Europe. I forget which country, but she never wants to come back to the US, at least not anytime soon. She liquidated her assets. There were some things that she could not live without, but for the most part, she ain't coming back. So it almost seems a bit scary. Like, do they know something we don't know? Now, it's not permanent. It's not permanent, but it is. It is. It is their home for however long before they come back here or go to Portugal. But yeah, record numbers of Americans are fleeing the country, rich and not so rich Americans. What does that say? Very interesting. Hmm. Anyway, let's see. Yes, they're going to the Bahamas. Their Majesty, the King and Queen, will undertake an autumn tour from the 27th of October to the 4th of November. Okay. Yeah, they're going to the Bahamas. That's why I believe they want their children to know the UK roots before the Invictus Games and Diana's anniversary. Yeah. Yeah, Legs, I'm willing to believe that it's just about the children. But, the way society is now, we have to pursue conspiracies. We can't just accept anything on face value. We live in a world where everything is about a conspiracy theory. So um, that's where we are, and that's where a lot of these things go. Is that there must be some hidden agenda or some unknown reason, and we just can never accept the first answer. The first answer is no good. So, I mean, it's Harry and Meghan. I tend to take them at their word. Let's see, not because of the kids' education or Prince Harry being homesick. Aging elderly royals need help. William and Kate aren't doing the work. Woo! Mary H. Well, now see, I said the other day, don't be surprised if you see Harry working. Didn't I say that the other day? And there were a bunch of people jumping all down my throat telling me that Harry is not going to. I said, okay, but that's what they say. Do not be surprised if Harry isn't doing some work. The model that they may adopt is Meghan makes the money and Harry does engagements. And on occasion, Meghan will attend some of those engagements with him. That's what I said the other day. And everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people were just like, no, that's not that. I said, don't be surprised. Now, officially, it's not supposed to happen, but Harry is there. And that brings me back to another point. Thank you, Mary H. I am going to build a shrine to you later. That brings me back to another point. And you know where I'm about to go, right? I am going to go right back here. Not everything is what it appears to be. We could be looking at what Harry asked for, or we may not see it. But that looks like a proper royal motorcade. The only thing that is missing is the flashing lights. And consider this, they're on the airfield. That may have changed once they left the airport. Okay? You see why I say that? It brings me right back to here. So suspend the idea of what you prefer. Like, oh, I prefer they're back in California, or I prefer that they don't do anything for that institution, or just have an open mind and think about it. If it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. But as Mary H just said, Will and Kate are not doing the work and they need the help. The other thing I'm kind of curious about is that, yes, there are a lot of the usual haters that are, poo-pooing all over the idea of it, but not everybody. Not everybody. Not everybody is singing from the same hymn book. So I caution, wait and see. Wait and see. Because there's a lot of people who just, like James O'Brien, cannot seem to understand or figure out why they came back. Now, I'm willing to accept the children's education, but two things could be true at the same time. Governor? Two things can be true at the same time. Yeah, well, after that whole thing with the Commonwealth Day, they didn't want to broadcast it, right? They refused to broadcast the Commonwealth Day for the first time in 38 years or whatever it was. If they say, well, there's a possibility, even if the Sussexes don't go, if they start drumming up the idea that they may go, people are going to tune in. And there is going to be a push to broadcast Commonwealth Day live again. So if Harry and Meghan go or they don't go, they will still get the effect out of it. So it's so many unknowns, you guys. It is so many unknowns. It makes it very interesting. I'll say that. It makes it very interesting. Baron, I've got a theory that the Derangers are plotting to sabotage Invictus in Birmingham. After the hostile takeover of Centabale, Harry's careful to be hands-on and present to monitor things. Well, This will give Harry the opportunity to be there. Now, as for the Derangers sabotaging Invictus, I doubt it. Um, but having some subversive, like a well, let's think about, how did Sophie Chandaka get into her position? She was already on the board, right? This is why it was hard to see this coming, because she was already on the board. And then when they needed a new chairperson, I don't know that she asked for it. I believe they offered her the position. And so, doing a quick calculation in her head, I have this, whatever her company is, that agency that she had that, right? And she had the golden goose. The golden goose, who could raise funding in his sleep, Harry. So she thought that if I link Cintabale to whatever that thing is she had, that she would be able to get never ending funding, allegedly, because of Prince Harry's connection. So Harry wasn't pushed out, he left. He left. He left on his own accord, as did Prince Seso. And Prince Seso is, from Lesotho. And of course, what was it? One or two, three board members resigned. So that's something that Harry wasn't hands on, right? Harry just did some fundraising things, but he was not hands on. But when it comes to Invictus, well, his DNA is all over it. So it would be very difficult, if not impossible, unless they can like try to create some kind of scandal or whatever. It would be very difficult, if not impossible, to to take that away from Harry, especially with the way that the military community feels about Harry. I don't even need to go through my soapbox speech again about that. It's a whole nother thing. The Centibale is something that was started when Harry was practically a teenager or 20 years old or whatever. Um, and most of his input was the fundraising. Pardon me. But Harry is not, pardon me for saying this, but Harry is not an orphan in Lesotho. He is a former military officer from the United Kingdom. So it's a world of a difference between his connection to Lesotho and his connection to the United Kingdom. This is his turf, and that is his creation. It wasn't co-created, and there's no Dr. Sophie that's going to take over the thing, because as far as I know, I don't think that Sophie has any military background or what have you. But yeah, if Harry would have stayed with the Centibale, he could have easily stayed. And he could have raised money, but we know that the money was being misappropriated. And because she sued, and well, anyway, you know the story. It is the damnedest thing. I mean, I just hate the fact that those orphans, and the whole community is going to suffer. And this evil individual refuses to leave. If you ever want to know what does evil look like, you need only look at that Sophie Chandaka. That is an act of evil, that she will not resign from that organization. That is an act of evil. Let's see. Not a Dr. Sophie was in debt from the BBBA due to this. She used Centibale as a way to pay off other debts. Then she sought a way to pay off her debts, allegedly, um, which is exactly what it appears to be. Is a whole bunch of palm greasing. It is absolutely disgusting. I don't know how she lives with herself. I really don't. How do you cause this kind of havoc? How do you feel entitled? I just I cannot wrap my brain around the selfishness of what's happened with Centibale. And listen, the easy thing to do is to blame Kensington Palace, but I don't know that William is that evil. I know he's evil, but I don't know that he's that evil. I want to believe that this is just something that fell into Sophie's lap, and that guy, maybe that was suggested by someone after she had already started taking Centibale in the direction. Because remember, she was there for a long time before she took that position. Now, I know it sounds like some kind of sleeper cell of some insurgent or something, but I believe she's just an opportunist, and she saw an opportunity and she took it. So, but let me say this. Kensington Palace is very capable of being evil. So I'm not going to say absolutely not, but I just hope that that's not the case. I hope and pray that that's not the case. What an evil individual. Thank you for the super chat. God, that makes me sick. That really does. That just makes me sick on the stomach. She wanted to use Harry and Meghan's popularity to advance her own career. Meghan particularly knows when people are trying to use her. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Um, I have no doubt that the whole experience for Harry, if Meghan had never come along, would have been a pretty sad, sad affair. It would have been a Princess Margaret 2.0. That is what they had planned for Harry. But thank God, behind every great man, there is a strong woman who used her black girl magic to rescue this man from his family. Baron, greed and jealousy are the root to destroy something that started decades ago in honor of Harry and his friend's mother are really of hatred. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I take my own advice, Kim Peaches, like I said, sometimes things are exactly what they appear to be. So I can't say, oh, I take it at face value. They want the kids' education. I can't say I subscribe to that and then refuse to believe that jealousy is not at the heart of the loss of Centibale, because it very well could have been something that was started at Kensington Palace. possibly, allegedly. But either way, Sophie, someone born of the continent, someone who has the face of those that receive the care. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Um, how do I put this? Um, Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison experienced um, racism, and she said that when she witnessed people, a mob of people, trying to set a bus on fire with children in it, right? She said, I don't know enough Black people that would march downtown to do something like that. Okay? But when it comes to the racists, when it comes to people in the South who wants to maintain their grip on power, and all of the perpetrators just happen to be white. I mean, you think about the lynching that took place and the whole mob action, the way that Black community, one after the other across the United States, they used terror against the Black community, not to the scale of what we see happening in Palestine, but still, it was that same type of terror. And I have to say myself, I don't know anybody in my life that I could say, let's go down here and teach them a lesson. I don't know anybody who would say, yeah, okay, I'm coming with you. That's what Toni Morrison had to say about that. And that really, really gives me a knot in my stomach when I think about something like that. Because a lot of those same people that were responsible for the lynching and the terrorism against Black people, you know, that may be someone greeting you at the Walmart. That they've had that in their past and they're still out in the community and never got in trouble for anything that they've done. It's a scary thought. And thanks to the occupant of the White House, they have reignited that same type of terror. And that's why a lot of people are just like, you know what? I'm through with the US. I'm leaving. A lot of people are leaving the country. I mean, I don't know if the numbers are so great that it's this huge impact, but then too, there's what you call brain drain. When the best and the brightest leave, then it has an impact. So interesting times we live in. Thank you for your comment. Well, if it doesn't look like the witnesses for the prosecution, if it doesn't look like the witnesses for the prosecution, what in the hell? And just, you know what? This is so interesting. Just as I'm talking about, I don't know anybody who I can say, come on, let's go commit an act of terror against a minority community. Isn't it weird that I just switched over to this slide? Isn't it interesting? People who otherwise look like a pillar of society, and yet, week after week, they inflict the worst possible, most degrading rhetoric on a woman of color, someone that they don't know, that they've never met, for something she hasn't even done. And look at how comfortable they are with it. That is frightful. It really is. That is frightening. As a person of color, I have to say that is frightening. I mean, individually, I could give two shits about these people, but it's when the pylon happens and the ease and comfort in which they do the things that they do and say the things that they say. That is pretty scary. And you know what? I can understand why a lot of people are still saying that they should have never gone back over there. I mean, this is like the Salem witch hunt. I do understand it. Okay, so let's do this.
I've looked into how many attacks there have been on Harry. 4 people have been imprisoned, to my knowledge. I stand to be corrected. 2 of them are out, as far as I know. Another 2 got long sentences. But again, with this government, who knows how long anybody is going to be in prison. They got convicted in 2024. They got about 15 years, cut that in half, seven and a half, bit of parole. Who knows when they could be out? But they had a kind of dreadful right-wing type of broadcast and absolute rubbish. It's one thing to be a broadcaster. It's another one to pose an actual risk. And what you've got to look at is who poses an actual risk. The Fixated Threat Assessment Center have between 500 and 1,000 referrals every year. Of those, about 20% are considered dangerous.
By the way, if you haven't guessed, the guy with the white hair, that's the one who's speaking.
What I don't know, but they do, Fatak knows, and the security service and the police, they know how many actually pose. So to answer your question, it really does depend on professionals giving a professional view as to whether he merits, like 9 former prime ministers, some others that we don't know about, but get it because of the risk. It is a very interesting question. And until we know actually what his motives are, other than bringing his children here, to me, his motive is quite clear. What I'm disappointed with is the palace. I'm also disappointed with Kensington. We haven't had clear, unequivocal statements from any of them. And if you're the royal family and you have many highly paid advisors, surely by now we should have a structured response. And that way you could find out exactly who's doing what, who should get what, etc., etc. I just think it reflects our nation at the moment, divided. The royal family are divided. Our country is divided. And some would say we've got weak leadership.
Well,
in the royal...
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion.
Well, divided and confused and a bit muddled and not exactly cash rich. So how much would this security?
Of course, that's the girl with the glasses that has to talk of money. She was not worried about the 9 individuals, I believe. How many prime ministers is it? Is it 9 of them that receive RAVAX protection? She doesn't ask any questions about that. But someone who is fifth in line to the throne, she's got all kind of questions about that.
Detail, if it were to go ahead in the way that Harry envisages, how much would it cost?
Well, it's a good question. I think I was the author of between 3 and 5 million, I estimated. But that depends on the technical as well.
3 and 5 million a year.
Yeah. Right. How much resources actually go into making this new home technically a fortress?
Okay. Now, you can see what he just said. What goes into making this new home a fortress? Well, the thing is, the government may not necessarily have to foot the bill. Harry offered to pay for their security. And since Harry offered to pay, then the government would not have to lease the space from them. In all likelihood, the government may not even have to pay for whatever equipment is needed. But Harry wants the armed security present. End of. But that is part of the cost. And if you notice, that's exactly what I said earlier. You know what, guys? I didn't even listen to this entire thing. So I didn't even know he was going to say that. But I do know that that is a part of the protection of a VIP, is that the Secret Service pays for the use of whatever property, so it puts them in proximity to the principals. And as I know from what I've seen, I do believe it's the absolute same thing in the UK, is that the government is going to pay for or lease whatever property is necessary to protect the principal. So at whatever expense, Will and Kate moved outside of the ring of security that was provided at the Windsor estate. They're outside of it. And the government had no choice but to foot the bill. There was no debate. William, being the capricious diva that he is, just decided this is where we're going. So we're going to cut off public access to a nature preserve. We are going to cut off the use of a particular road so that we can make our homes secure. And there was no debate about it and no mention of price. And if Will and Kate indeed own that property, since it's outside of the Windsor estate, then it's possible that they are paying for whatever security hut or building or booth or whatever it is. They're probably paying Will and Kate for it. Interesting how that works out. Again, they don't mention this about the other royals, only Harry and Meghan. Why? Because, as usual, when it's a person of color involved, everything changes. The goalposts are moved, the rules are changed. It's not this, but that. The same as it was with Barack Obama, the same as it was with several prominent Black politicians across the country. You can just hold up a mirror image and you'll see the exact same thing happen in the UK. All of a sudden, things get complicated. Complications where there were none. Okay. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. It is the albino assassin. I repeat, the albino assassin.
Charles perhaps is jealous of William. William possesses all of the gifts of his mother, and we know that Charles resented Diana for her magnetism, her charisma, her looks, her ability to talk to people from all walks of life. He is the spitting image of his mother. He is beloved. Charles perhaps is jealous of William. William possesses all of the gifts of his mother, and we know that Charles resented Diana for her magnetism, her charisma, her looks, her ability to talk to people from all walks of life. He is the spitting image of his mother. He is beloved.
I played that twice in case you did not believe what you were hearing, in case you thought your ears were lying to you. She said, Charles
perhaps is jealous of William. William possesses all of the gifts of his mother, and we know that Charles resented Diana for her magnetism, her charisma, her looks, her ability to talk to people from all walks of life. He is the spitting image of his mother. He is beloved. Charles perhaps.
Look at their faces. You guys, look at their faces. Does it look like anybody is buying that? Does it seem like anybody is shaking their heads and in agreement with her? Charles is jealous of William. William didn't even have a platform until he reached his 40th birthday. And then all of a sudden, a campaign kicked in. Oh, I'm going to be the global statesman. Oh, I'm going to end homelessness. Oh, I'm going to stop. I'm going to create peace in the Middle East. Oh, this, oh, that. Life began for William at age 40. Charles was in his 20s, if not younger. He was in his 20s. Harry was a teenager when he started making a difference. William was 40 years old. Diana was in her 20s when she began to make a difference. Princess Diana did not have to do the things that she was doing, especially after the divorce. But Diana, out of a strong sense of fair play, out of the reality that she had this incredible platform that she did not want wasted, she began to practice public speaking. She enlightened herself on topics that she didn't know anything about. And of course, she helped so many people stricken with HIV/AIDS that were estranged from their families. She normalized the idea of being around someone with AIDS, even being able to embrace that person. That doesn't sound like Willie to me. William was the one who joked about the global pandemic. Maybe the sunlight is getting to her. And that she thought that everybody was going to go amen to that. Look at their faces. Look at their faces. Let me play that one more time. Let me play that again.
Charles perhaps is jealous of William. William possesses all of the gifts of his mother. And we know that Charles resented Diana for her magnetism, her charisma, her looks, her ability to talk to people from all walks of life. He is the spitting image of his mother. He is beloved. Charles perhaps is jealous of William. William possesses all of the gifts of his mother.
Notice when she was talking, it was so quiet you could hear a rat piss on cotton. What do you even follow that up with? How do you follow that? How do you follow something so ridiculous? I have never seen someone so stupid. I mean, just stupid, ignorant. There are so many things that you can say about Charles' character. And I'm pretty sure most of it would be true. But there are certain things that you just cannot take away from him. Yes, he's a rotten father. Yes, he's an adulterer, and that he took his human mattress into Westminster Abbey and put a crown on her head, all of which was really pathetic. But he did not sit around idle for 70 years. That he did not do. So I could only imagine what Diana's reaction would be to hearing that Charles is jealous of William. I could only imagine. William does not have Diana's work ethic. He just does not. There were so many times when Diana showed up at places where there were no cameras. There was no expectation of making the evening news. That is something that was projected upon her character by Charles and his merry gang of spin doctors. But Diana did a lot of things just because. She did not need cameras to show humanity to people. And so, as his mother reaches out to him from heaven, one strand of hair at a time, followed by another strand of hair, is what he deserves. It really is. Pretty soon he's going to look like Mr. Clean if he don't straighten up and fly right. It reminds me of this for whatever reason. It just reminds me of this right here, where you have a whole group of haters. And whatever the topic is, you know that there's a great chance that it's all about Meghan, who is, again, not relevant at all, completely irrelevant. But yet, time and time again, this was August the 20th. So anyway, I don't have anything to play for them. I just wanted to share that comparison to the other image we just looked at. But Britain's last hope. Britain's last hope. Nadine Burke, that woman was on the wrong joint. Thank you for the super chat. All it takes is nerves. I mean, they do a great job, some of them, of trying to convey themselves as honest brokers. We go where the news is. We don't have any fear or favor. We tell it like it is. But the devil is in the detail. There is no way possible that two people, Harry and Meghan, could be wrong 99.9% of the time, and just by chance, every member of the royal family, including Andrew, they are correct 99.9% of the time. They have done nothing wrong. Not even Andrew. They're not after Andrew. They're not pursuing anything to do with him. If anything, they've been defending him. Remember, how much more can he take? I'm just worried about his mental health. Something that they never gave as a consideration to Meghan. They weren't worried about her mental health, not even when she was with child. Even while she was heavily pregnant, they did not care about Meghan's mental health. But they're worried about Philip Schofield, Hugh Edwards, Prince Andrew. They're worried about everybody. Okay, I'm going to have to admit this. They weren't really worried about Dan Wooten. But they worried about him enough that they did give him some protection. He was protected because remember, the police said, "Oh, there's nothing to see here. There is no case." Okay. He was given shelter and protection, just like the rest of them. If you notice, rarely does it ever become a police matter with any of them. And even when it does, they just get a little slap on the back of the hand or whatever, and they're back to their old tricks again. No pun intended. Look who came to visit me today. I was sitting up there minding my own business, and I looked outside. I thought it was a leaf because of how small it is, right? Well, the red-breasted nuthatch, they need to work on that name, is a small songbird. The adult has blue-gray upper parts with a cinnamon underpart, a white throat and face with black stripe through the eyes and straight gray bill and a black crown, and its call, which has been likened to a tin trumpet, is high pitched and nasal. Yeah, so I grabbed my phone and snapped a couple of pictures. Isn't he or she? I think it's a he. Isn't he beautiful? Is this like some kind of good omen? Does this mean I'm going to win the lottery or something? Even though I don't play. But does this mean I'm going to win some money? What does this mean? I've never had a bird in my garden before. That sounds weird, doesn't it? I've never had a bird in my garden before. Anyway, watch out, you guys. Royal designer Amanda Wakely just dropped a new collection with John Lewis, and it's very Kate Middleton. Does that mean that it's bland and boring, and it probably is going to shut down the company next week? Is that what's happening here? And it's very Kate Middleton. Do those clothes there look like something Kate would wear? Could you imagine how awkward and disjointed Kate would look trying to wear those things? Yeah, I don't think so. There's nothing Kate about those outfits. Kate can take something couture and make it seem like it's from Walmart. If you want something couture to look like it's from Walmart, ask Kate Middleton to wear it. The value drops the minute she buttons her what do you call it? Her wrist, her cuff. The minute she buttons the cuff, the value has decreased. Okay, what else do we have? Well, you guys, we had fun with this yesterday, right? We had fun with this. That poor guy went to the barber and asked for a mullet and came out of there looking like Sonny Bono and Pearl from 227's Love Child. Yeah, if Sonny Bono and Helen Martin, who was the lady on the right side, she played Pearl on 227. If Helen Martin and Sonny Bono had a baby together, he would look just like that guy right there, wouldn't he? Yep, I could see that. I could see that. Poor guy. And the little jokes that people said, like how many shillings did that haircut cost? What does your barber actually do for a living? Oh man, that was fun though. This is the last thing I have for you today. I wasn't supposed to be on for but an hour, and here we are. you guys, now Dolly Parton said that the secret to her marriage of almost 60 years was she was barely ever at home. Um, I can think of about 6'2" of manliness that should have brought you home at least a couple of times a year. I mean, look at him. Look at him. He looks like he's in a boy band or something. Good Lord. Are you sure you didn't want to go home? Not for a little bit? Well, um, it just goes to show Dolly Parton was not motivated by looks. She fell in love with him and he loved her and they lived happily ever after. But I still say she should have come home more often. She should have came home, like at least take a month off the road. Let's see. Mary H says, I have birds in my garden all the time. Every creature or bugs that even armadillo once and a possum. Okay. You know what? I felt bad because I don't usually put any water out. That was the first time that I've ever seen a bird. I mean, I don't have much you know, but I've never seen a bird there before. That was the first time. Maybe I just missed them or whatever, but maybe I'll put some water out tomorrow. Yes, maybe my friend will come back and I'll put some water out there for him or her. But anyway, you guys, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed tonight. I feel like this has been a very interesting Royal Sussex for some reason. And as usual, you guys illuminate and enlighten so many things that I wouldn't have thought of in a million years. And that is so, so cool. But yeah, that's it. Have a good night or good morning. Have a great rest of your day, whatever applies. And I will see you all next time. Hey, Hazel, I didn't know you were here. You guys, I want to do a live again. I just don't know when. And as you can see, I'm still violating my curfew. And I'm so hungry right now, but I think I'm going to just go to bed because if I make something to eat, I'll be up another 4 hours. So, but I'm hungry. I only had one meal today. I want something to eat. But it's not good to eat and lay down, so I'm not going to do it. Thank you, Heather Stroud. Thank you, Angela M. Oh no, did he pass away? Did he pass away? They said that he was kind of close. I don't know. I feel kind of sad. He seems like I don't know, he just seemed like such a nice guy. Well, I don't see anything just yet. Yeah, I don't see anything yet, so nobody's reporting it as far as I can tell. But I suppose that he may be on the yeah, he's still alive. He's still alive. Oh no. Oh yeah, he did pass away. I see it. I see Reuters. 89 years old. I see it. Oh, thank you, Miss Z. I do see it. Yes, I do see it. I see Reuters, um, BBC. You know, what's interesting though is that a lot of the services haven't caught on yet. Like New York Post is just saying he's in very serious health condition, but I'm sure that'll change any minute now. Harold. Wow, you know what? I'm looking at Wikipedia, and Wikipedia already has updated his profile. It says 21 February 1937 to 28 August 2026 was King of Norway for 17 January 1991 until his death 28 August 2026. I mean, they updated this very fast. They must have computer software to do that. Oh man, that's sad. That's sad. He's like everyone's grandpa, I think. The father of his nation. And now it's what, King Hokum? Is that his name? Hokum? Yeah, Hazel Jones. They moved fast, didn't they? My goodness. Connie Balmer. Hey, Connie Balmer. Okay, you guys, I am going to try to go to bed sooner rather than later because I'm so hungry, but I'm not going to eat anything. I'm just going to lay there and listen to my stomach gurgle. Yes, I'm not going to go in there and snatch the door off the refrigerator, even though I want to. You know, with with all the losses that I've experienced recently, um every time something happens, I can really feel what people are going through because it's been so, you know, so recent. So, but it really is part of life, and this is why we have to value the time that we have with each other. And for those of us that are here, it's important that we live our best life every day as a way to celebrate the memory of those who have gone before us. Because, of course, they would want us to live our best life, right? They don't want us sitting around full of grief and despair. They want us to prosper, to love, and to be loved. So that's why it's important. Live your best life. Claire Thomas, good morning to you too. Yes, the King of Norway. Oh, you're welcome for everything, Connie Bomber. Oh, you know what, guys? You know what? I had a video to play and I totally forgot about it. How did I forget that? Did I not make a slide? Is that what it is? Oh, you know what? I did not make a slide. That's how I forgot. I guess I was supposed to have been reminded here, and then I didn't do it. So I'm going to do it now. Yeah, I'm going to do it now. I forgot. Shit. I forgot. I'm old. I forgot. I forget stuff now. I have what they call sometimers. Sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't. It's called sometimers. Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. That's our Meghan. Meghan just makes every day that much more beautiful. Meghan dropped a video today, and I kind of mixed it into something a little longer and more enjoyable, I hope. So that was it. You're welcome. Oh, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you are not a member of Royal Sussex, what are you waiting for? A membership is only $4.99. That's the starting price. And it goes higher, but you can start a membership, which is good for 1 month. Yes, 1 month. You get a month of a membership. $4.99 for just about the price of a cup of coffee in some places. It's like you buying me a coffee once a month. And that's the price of the membership. Now, if that is insulting, there are some that are more expensive that are, $50 or $100 a month? And you're asking, well, what do I get for that money? Well, you know, I used to be an exotic dancer, right? You know, I used to be an exotic dancer, so I'm just going to leave it there. But we can arrange something. Wink, wink. Yes. I mean, I have not thrown away my costumes because it's the best hedge against inflation if you have other talents. Wink, wink. So, okay, I must be tired because I'm getting kind of punchy. I should probably go before the FCC contacts me. Oh, great. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know what? Yesterday I made noodles with let me see. I used like smoked ham. Did I Oh, you know what? I forgot to put chicken. Oh, I did put chicken. I put smoked ham, chicken, um beef, and the noodles, and of course, anyway, they were so good. Oh, they were good. And then guess what? I had enough for the next day, which means I had the same pleasure all over again, except it was better the next day. You know, weird how that works out, but oh, so good. Okay, so Chocolate Thunder. That's right, Mary H. Chocolate Thunder. That's my stage name. Chocolate Thunder is signing out. I will see you all next time. I think we covered a lot of interesting topics today. I really do.